The so-called negotiations in Pakistan are a sham. Hey everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. In case you weren't aware, this is just another delay tactic, probably by both sides, so they can rearm, resupply, and refresh their troops, so to speak, and get ready for the bigger battles that are coming. So here's a tweet right here, or an X post, whatever it's called now, about the seriousness of Iran versus the not seriousness of the United States. Because Iran's delegation is made up of four men with doctorates: the Speaker of the Parliament, their Foreign Minister, their Secretary of the Defense Council, and their central bank governor. I'm not going to insult the Iranians by mispronouncing their names. You can see them right here. Now, the U.S. delegation, in contrast to all this, is made up of J.D. Vance, a failed author, Steve Witkoff, which is Trump's gold buddy and golf buddy, and Jared Kushner, Trump's son-in-law. None of them have the technical range to negotiate complex nuclear issues. And so this is not a serious negotiation whatsoever at all. And we have speculation surging that these Pakistan talks are a delay tactic ahead of the expanded U.S. action on Iran. Yes, because the troops continue to be built up in the Middle East and the supplies. And President Trump has made it clear that American forces will still be hanging around the Persian Gulf area with an eye on Iran, while demanding that the Strait of Hormuz be open to global energy transit once again. While the U.S. Navy had a destroyer turned back in the Strait of Hormuz this morning by the Iranian Navy, who said, "Turn back or else you'll be targeted." Well, they did. They turned around. Now, Trump has vowed to keep troops positioned for a fight until such time as the real agreement reached is fully complied with, which is never going to happen. As direct U.S.-Iran talks are set for Islamabad Saturday morning, there's been an avalanche of speculation that the ceasefire could be cover for a greater Pentagon force buildup and bigger impending operation. Indeed, it is. Some pundits say that Washington needed more time to get large contingencies of Marines and airborne units in place, possibly for some kind of risky island campaign that's geared towards reopening the strait. This could be the case, as it's also very evident to all that the demands of each side remain far apart, which means the chances for a breakthrough deal, which finally ends the war, are distant. With a 2-week timeline in place to reach a deal, is this the interim period for merely rearming and regrouping forces on each side? And we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now, that there would be, actually for over a month, there would be maybe some pauses in this war, some temporary ceasefires so that both sides could regroup and rearm. But that'll be about it. It'll continue to intensify. But clearly, the U.S. wasn't prepared for the fierce, sustained Iranian counterattack on American regional bases and Gulf allies. Open source data of military logistic flights between the U.S., Europe, and the Middle East region suggests that there is an ongoing buildup and posturing of forces happening on the eve of the Pakistan summit, just like it did before. Remember? They were negotiating, allegedly in good faith, or at least the Iranian side was, and they were making major concessions, major ones. And then it turns out that the attack started when they were on the eve of breakthroughs. And so why would this be any different? So, wow, it's just so messed up. So like it says here, the USA has sent inexperienced delegation to Pakistan. Vance is green, Kushner's the president's Mossad agent son-in-law, Witkoff is random golfing mate. Not serious. Iran needs to run down the weather clock for 2 more weeks to put the U.S. ground attack into being cooked. So let's check this out real quick. I saw this here this past week. Actually, yesterday. Iran's come closer strategy. Cook them in the heat and humidity. So Iran's brilliant chessboard strategy is to set the U.S. ground assault up for being cooked in the desert. Yeah, I just watched a documentary on YouTube about this, Strait of Hormuz area, and in some areas it gets up to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. How are you going to function in that with 50 pounds of gear on? Ain't no way. So now the ceasefire allows the clock to be run down on any sensible temperature window for combat activity on the southern Iranian coast. By the end of April, the scorch will start in full fury and build from there. The window's closing soon. And even if the invasion were to hit over this weekend, any bogging down will be suicide for the invader. The Iranian forces are situated in cooler underground fortresses or granite mountains, in deep trenches, and are trained for these conditions. Has Big Brain Trump been briefed on this? Likely not, as reality intel has been purged from Hegseth DOD. Yeah, along with a lot of his good generals and officers. And of course, I put this up today. I thought it was hilarious. Pete Hegseth, breaking news. Pete Hegseth appoints loyal advisors Captain Morgan and Jack Daniels as his top two generals. That's about it. He's a raging alcoholic, so it fits. The history laughs at armies who ignore the calendar. Russia's winter destroyed Napoleon and Hitler. For Iran, it's the summer that kills. Trump's narrow window for a ground invasion is slamming shut. The Middle Eastern summer, just as brutal, just as unforgiving, will turn any land campaign into a catastrophe. Yes, it will. Indeed, it will. And not many people have been talking about this particular issue, but it's a big issue. It's one of the natural defenses that Iran has, especially at this time of the year, or going into this time of the year. So we'll go back to this article here. Like it says, when you see two dodgy grifters, shameless Israeli assets lurking around peace negotiations, it's a surefire signal that a massive attack is being planned. I agree. And we already covered that. And now this part I wanted to cover. They won't even meet. The Iranians won't even meet directly with the U.S. delegation because they know in the back of their minds this isn't serious at all. It's just a delay tactic, but it did allow them allegedly to get billions of dollars in frozen assets unfrozen by the U.S. side as a precondition to these talks. Whether or not that actually happened, I don't know. I'm waiting for an update on that as well. But here it is. The Iranian delegation will not allow Vice President J.D. Vance and his team a photo op with them. No direct talks. Both groups will be in separate rooms with Pakistan mediating. There is no trust left. And why would there be? They've done this to him twice. Once in 2025 with the 12-day war, and then again here back in February. So, yeah, there's no trust left indeed. Why would there be? It wouldn't make any sense for them to trust anything that the United States says at this point. And if the U.S. is going to resume the war, they're going to have to do so soon and with different munitions than what they started with because they're running out of ammo, literally. So Iran war exposes critical degradation of U.S.-Israeli defense industrial base. Defense spending, higher than at any other time in U.S. history, apart from World War II, has not translated into military victories. With staggering contractor gauging, I would say gouging, but anyway, a declining industrial base and the over-engineering revealing a potentially dangerous level of weakness. From Iran's destruction of critical $500 million to $1.1 billion U.S. early warning and THAAD radars in the first week of the war, to the emptying of U.S. and Israeli storehouses of critical offensive munitions and defensive anti-ballistic interceptors, the current war has demonstrated that the trick to overwhelming U.S. conventional power is to force it to drain its potential, then hit back hard. And that's what they've been doing, quite effectively. It's not a problem that the Pentagon can solve through a temporary breather either, according to calculations by the Cradle. Those 943 Patriot interceptors fired by the U.S. and Gulf countries in the first 96 hours, well, they took a year and a half to manufacture. The 145 THAAD interceptors fired, 5 to 18 months to produce. Israeli Arrow interceptors, 32 months. Tomahawk cruise missiles, 53 months to build the 500 plus launched in 2 weeks. Stockpiles of JASSM-ER missiles and HARM anti-radiation missiles, GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators, and BLU-109 bunker busters were also drained by up to a quarter in the case of the GBU-57s, and at a near suicidal pace in the case of the small diameter bombs. Besides money and time, rebuilding the munition stocks expended just in the first 4 days alone will require all of these materials you see here. 600 tons of ammonium perchlorate, That's a critical solid fuel rocket component. 92 tons of copper, 137 kilograms of neodymium, or neodymium, 37 kilograms of tantalum, and 18 kilograms of gallium. China, the U.S.'s prime strategic rival, has the market cornered in nearly all of these and other critical raw materials. That's why F-35s are being delivered with no radars. They don't have the critical materials to build them. In 96 hours, the U.S.-Israeli war machine spent $20 billion. And costs now stand at over $47.5 billion per Brown University's Iran War Cost Tracker. What has the war achieved? Replacing Khomeini with a Khomeini and turning Iran into a new regional mega power. That's what they've achieved so far. Wow. Unreal. But there it is. U.S. and Israel are going to run out of ammo soon. Then what? Then what are they going to do? Then we had this news. Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson, he said that the U.S. destroyer, the Arleigh Burke, which attempted to cross the Strait of Hormuz without permission today, has started moving in the opposite direction after a firm warning by the Iranian armed forces. Since when would you see it? When would you think you'd ever see that? Before February 28th, nobody would have thought this was possible. That Iran would be able to turn around the mighty U.S. Navy, but they just did. So, and in fact, I'll cover a little bit more on that particular subject. Al Turner was talking about the U.S. Navy trying to cross the strait earlier this morning. As it says right here, U.S. warships have crossed the Strait of Hormuz. Well, not quite, as this update will reflect here. But it said several U.S. Navy ships crossed the Strait of Hormuz on Saturday. The move was not coordinated with Iran. One such vessel is the USS Michael Murphy, shown on the map image above. The ships departed from the United Arab Emirates. It's the first time this happened since the beginning of the war. President Trump announced the U.S. has begun clearing the Strait of Hormuz, claiming that Iranian mine-laying ships have been destroyed. Unbelievable. Do these guys ever stop lying? It's unreal. So he said, we've now started the process of clearing out the strait. In that announcement, he insulted numerous countries as not having the courage to do it themselves, even though he started the war. Him and Israel. So it's not lost on anyone that if these ships are attacked, the peace talks in Islamabad, Pakistan will immediately end, and the U.S. Congress would be highly likely to declare war. Same if the ship hits one of the mines and explodes. And so Trump went off on another tangent here. I'll let you read that for yourselves if you wish. But at 10:31 a.m. this morning, the update says that Iran's Fars News Agency reports that the U.S. destroyer moving toward the Strait of Hormuz turned back after an Iranian warning issued via Pakistani mediation during the Iran-U.S. talks in Pakistan. Iran said it told mediators that the vessel would be targeted within 30 minutes if it continued, and that talks would be affected. The ship then halted and withdrew, according to the report. So they tried to sneak a ship through there. And I don't know if it was truly trying to detect mines or not, while the negotiations were going on, when they knew they shouldn't have been doing that, without talking to the Iranians first. But their bluff was called and the ship was turned back. And there you go. That's where things stand as of right now. And that'll be it for this report for right now. But I will keep my eyes open like I always do. Don't forget, don'tspeaknews.com is home base for everything that we do here. I'll put all kinds of things here that we can't report on anywhere else, including stories like this one here, this one over here, and many others like it. Over 3,000 now, articles, videos, and so on. And that's over 400 and some per year that I've been putting out for the last 7 years. Crazy, right? And some of them I look at and go, wow, I don't remember putting that up at all. But anyway, if you want to navigate around the site, it's easy. If you want to subscribe or contact me, click on this tab up here, and then type in your email here, click on subscribe, and you'll be notified every time a new post comes up. Don't Speak News at Proton Mail is how you get in touch. For channel support, as we are listener supported only, that's underneath this tab here. And it helps me pay for subscriptions to newsletters and blogs and so on. And of course, internet and utilities and everything else we need to keep going here. And so all the channel support links are right underneath that tab there, including Cash App and Venmo. And to find us around the internet, you can click on the Rumble, BitChute, Telegram links, and all the places where you can find us are right listed under here. And that's it, at least for now. Stay ready, guys. Prayed up and prepped up at all times. These talks could go south and this war could expand and explode real quick. So prayed up and prepped up at all times. God bless. Take care. Johnny Storm. Don't speak news.